Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and all else, to another installment of Nightmare Fuel. This series proves to be one of my most popular and most requested, and I always appreciate reading and hearing your comments. Speaking of hearing, did you hear that? It was probably nothing. Probably. Tonight, we dive in to 5 more terrifying tidbits from this strange little world of ours. If you're a carnivorous soul like myself, enjoying such meaty meats as bacon and chicken, then you might be familiar with the idea of meat moving after it's dead. It's not a commonplace thing that occurs, but every now and again, this strange phenomenon will happen. Sometimes when the muscles or the tendons in a piece of meat react to a certain external stimuli, such as placing the meat of a fish in a bucket of water, you may notice the meat begin to move, although sometimes it moves a bit too realistically for me. Some dead meat that continues to move is a bit too lively for my tastes, pun intended. It's rather disturbing to watch, especially those frog legs and those swimming fish. But fear not, we're not actually eating live animals. Or are we? The Skinwalker proves to be one of the most popular cryptids of recent urban lore. The basic idea of this creature character is a shape-shifting type of monster that can mimic the voices of people. The only thing stranger than hearing about such a creature would be hearing it yourself. This clip contains not just one, but potentially multiple skinwalkers screeching at one another. Regardless of whether or not the noises being found in these woods are cryptid creatures or maybe just a natural animal, any type of strange screaming from the woods is probably something you want to avoid. Either way, I'd steer clear. TikTok and myself always seem to have an interesting relationship. About a couple months back, there was a recent phenomenon known as the Serbian woman dancing, which depicted various clips of a strange woman in Serbia, as the name would suggest, dancing in the street at night. Then, just as the dance would conclude, the woman would charge at the camera person, causing them to flee. Whether or not these videos are staged or legitimate, they're still downright creepy. The Serbian dancing lady goes to prove that you don't have to have a malicious intent to be creepy. For all we know, this woman could have just received really good news or just felt like dancing in the street at night. Although something tells our brains, maybe that bit of cognitive dissonance, that there's something extremely wrong. One of the reasons why I enjoy creepy things so much. There's no perceivable threat, necessarily, but there's definitely something wrong with a woman dancing in the middle of the night. Strange creatures and phenomenon are no stranger to this channel and also to the world of the weird. We just talked about skinwalkers, but I'd like to turn your attention to a creature that is a bit more legitimate, though one that we haven't seen in quite a few years. The pterodactyl is a very popular dinosaur, which you've probably seen in films such as the Jurassic Park franchise. But would you ever suspect to see one flying in the sky on an ordinary day? Probably not. This clip of a supposed pterodactyl, or Kongmato, is rather strange, especially considering that either the latter doesn't exist and the former hasn't been seen in millennia. Regardless of whether or not these clips are legitimate, it does seem rather strange that such a odd-shaped creature would be soaring the skies. Should dinosaur beast and man collide in history, the results could only be catastrophic. And finally, for this installment of Nightmare Fuel, I'd like to end with a classic bit of Nightmare Fuel, bringing this series back to where it first began, talking about things that creeped me out when I was a kid. Though I think that this clip may be illegitimate, may be faked, it no doubt left an impact on me when I was a child. The following clip is taken from a much longer video here on YouTube of a father and his daughter playing hide and seek. He thinks that he has quite easily found his daughter hiding in the corner, but it turns out that it isn't her.
Ariana, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm playing hide and seek.
4, 5, 6. What? Turn off the lights, cheating. There we go. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here I go. Better be in a good spot. Ariana, could you be in the closet? Gotcha. Ariana? Ah, I see you behind the dresser. What the?
You found me!
Oh, what?
Did Mabel tell you where I was?
What? Let's get out of here. Come here.
My reason for suspecting that this clip is illegitimate is largely due to the reaction of the daughter. She looks up and to the side, which suggests that she was trying to remember her lines for this apparent video. Perhaps she was nervous or just being playful with her father, which is entirely on the table, though to me it just seems like a little bit of hocus pocus. Regardless though, the video, its quality, and the way that it impacted me as a child will forever be haunting, and will conclude this episode of Nightmare Fuel. Keep the nightmares alive, creeps. I'll see you in the next installment coming your way very soon. And remember, for all things Halloween, this is Hauntformer.